In last class, we had covered till data factory introduction, right? The ADF basics.
All right. All right, right. We have just created the CosmoDB database.
Okay, we had seen while creating one Cosmos DB database. So in today's class, we'll work with by creating ETL factory data factory pipeline. Right, we'll create one pipeline. Right, first we'll create a copy data and then we'll load that copy data pipeline in a stored procedure. Right, so I will create a copy data pipeline and I will load it in the stored procedure. We'll see that. We had seen what is the Azure Data Factory, the basics part, right? The data factory, why it is used. So it's an ETL tool. What is ETL? Extract, load, and transform. Right, in data factory, how data transformation is being carried out. You ingest the data, right? Then you make one transformation workflow. Then after ingesting transformation workflow is made it. And after that you load the data, right? You load the data where you can see that loading part may be done in Power BI or chart. Right? There we can load the data and we can get some business insights or we can draw some conclusions from the data. And everything this happens, it's very visual, right? If I show you one of the data factory I've created just now, it's very visual. If I want to connect it to any stored procedure, let me connect it to the stored procedure. Let's say one stored procedure is there, and I want to connect this pipeline to a stored procedure. So it's you can see very visually we can do it, right? Here I can take a pipeline and I can move it to the stored procedure. Right, what the stored procedure does, right? Here you can select the stored procedure name, add some dynamic content. Data from your copy data pipeline from the destination, the data will be stored inside a stored procedure. Right? That may be a, you can store it as a blob storage. You can add some link service or you can even add it in the SQL database. So like this, you can create stored procedure. If you want to get the metadata from it, if you want to get more metadata, like what is the file size, right? When was the file created, file properties, all the metadata. So you can also perform get a metadata activity, right? So like this, you can see in the canvas, it's very visual. Visually, all the processes we are doing, those processes, what these processes are visual processes. So we can see in data factory what that whatever processes we do, right, we can represent this as a visual process, right? Compute services within data flows, they can be represented visually. And here, what all services are supported? If I show you in data factory, multiple services are supported. You can see Synapse are there. We'll see what are Synapse. Synapse Analytics will work with it. It is used for making interactive graphs, right? Charts, time charts, scatter plots, different type of plots. It is basically, you can say, like a analytical tool is there. Synapse Analytics, it's like an analytical tool to give us the insights, right? Then we even have function, right? We have seen what is a function. You remember function serverless apps, right? So we have this
Yes,
function.
sir. Yes.
Then we also have the Azure Databricks. Databricks is important part of data engineering. You can say it's the most important part. Not only important, it's the most important part that you should know how to work with the Databricks, big data analytics. We have this Spark. You might have heard about it, Spark. So to manage the Spark portal, the founder of Spark only, he only made this company, Databricks. Like he was the founder of that company. So earlier Spark was open source. He made an enterprise version of it and they provide this license using their company Databricks. Azure Databricks is actually, you can say it's a combination of Microsoft Azure and your Databricks, right? That company. Right? It's a big data ETL tool processing we use it for. Right? So we have this Spark which you use for big data processing. So you can even create notebooks inside your data factory. That will be the another project which will be. So let's
Pawan, sir,
yeah.
I have one query. Like, as a Azure data engineer, which services we use most? Like Azure Databricks, Azure Data Factory. Which services we use most as a Azure data engineer?
Yeah, so you can say three fundamental services are there, which we primarily focus on. Three fundamental services are your data factory, then
Yes.
Synapse Analytics, then Azure Data Factory. Okay. So the most
Azure
important,
Data Factory, Databricks, and Azure Synapse.
yeah, Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure Data Factory, and your Azure Databricks. These are the most important. Most of the time we'll be working with Data Factory, then Synapse Analytics, then Databricks, right? Azure Databricks.
Okay.
These are the three pillars. You can say three pillars of data engineering. And three, we'll see projects in each of this: Data Factory,
Oh,
Databricks, and your Azure Synapse Analytics. You should know how to work with each of the services. So in today's
okay.
class, what we'll see in Data Factory, we'll see how to create a storage account link with it. We'll also create one of the loading part where we'll load the, for example, in the destination part, we'll create the SQL database where we'll load our data. Then we'll try to do the transformation, right? We'll make one copy data pipeline and we will try to load the data in SQL database. Then we'll store that data in the stored procedure, right? And in next class, we'll do a project with get a metadata activity. Get a metadata activity and lookup activity. How you can use get a metadata and lookup activity. Now I will go back again. I will create a new SQL database. I will create a new. Further, let's first create one as data factory, new data factory. So in today's class, we'll cover copy data pipeline and stored procedure. Copy data pipeline and stored procedure. So any idea what pipelines are used for?
Yes, like they are used for the data transformation. Like we can use the data pipeline for transferring data from one storage or one database to another, or like we can transfer the data from blob storage into SQL table.
Yeah, let's say from blob storage to SQL table, or let's say from data lake storage. Right? Even you can go
Yes,
from
from data lake.
data lake storage to the SQL table. It's so like this, you can do some transformation. You can specify like data lake storage as the source, and then you can specify the sink as your SQL table, SQL database. Right? You can specify the sink as SQL database, SQL database as the sink. Okay, so here what we are going to do, we are going to see the copy, how the copy data pipeline will work, right? How the copy data pipeline will work. First, you have to specify some source, then we have to specify some destination. So I had given you this example. Let's say you want to go to Delhi to Agra. How will you go from Delhi to Agra? What mode of transport? Either you can take private vehicle or public transport. And what is the mode of transport? Right? What is the mode of transport? We have seen that mode of transport. It can be any of the following two, three options which we have. Or here, what is the mode of transport? How we are transferring the data from the source to the sink. Here, actually, we are transferring the data through pipelines. That is only called orchestration. Right? If somebody is asking what is data orchestration, right? So that is actually the pipelines, the transferring of data, right? The pipelines provide a tool, or you can say as a mode for data orchestration, right? Orchestration is nothing but you are creating multiple pipelines that is orchestrating of the data, moving the data from the source to sink. Right? Pipelines are a tool or mode for the data orchestration. So here what we'll be doing, here we'll be copying the data, copy the data from copy the data tool we'll be using the copy data tool in Azure Data Factory Studio to copy data. So what are the steps, right? So what are the steps which are going to follow? You need to have Azure subscription. So either free trial or your pay-as-you-go subscription. You can have any of this. Then what
Hello,
you,
Pawan sir.
yeah,
Actually, I am got disconnected.
okay. So what I was discussing was, so we are going to see how to use copy data pipeline in Azure Data Factory. So we have this data factory. We'll see how to create a new data factory. I will show you how to create a new data factory. Once I've created a new data factory, there is something called Azure Data Factory Studio, right? So what is it, Azure Data Factory Studio? There will be connecting linked service. Linked service means, let's say any of the services are there, as how to connect to SQL database or storage account or Cosmos DB or virtual network. So these are all Azure services I can connect with my data factory with the help of linked service. Means I'm linking my data factory to my storage account or to my SQL database. So that services are called, they are called linked service. Okay. Now here what I'm doing, here I'm actually specifying the steps. What are the steps I'm going to follow? So the first step is you will require one Azure subscription. So you must, if you are using the Azure, you must have one Azure free trial or student, or let's say your, you can say pay as you go, right? One subscription will be there, right? You should have one free trial, right? Or student subscription or your pay as you go. Once you have the subscription, now the next part, what it is, you have to create a source. For this source, what you have to do, you have to prepare the source data in Azure Blob Storage. That maybe Blob Storage or Data Lake Storage. It's your choice. Okay? Which what source you want to prepare. So prepare source data. Will add some data. I will show you by adding some data in Azure Blob Storage. So we'll add some source data in Azure Blob Storage. Now, what is the next part? When I've added the data in the blob storage,
Recording in progress.
I will create create the data factory. I will create the data factory. Then I will use the copy data tool. The next step will be use the copy. We will use this copy data tool to copy data. Then I'll do create and add as link service. So I'll create and add it as a link service. Then what is the next step? Once you have added the link service, now the step 4. What will be the step 4? Add the destination where you will load the data. For example, in SQL database, so to add the destination, for example, SQL database, then you have to run or debug the copy data pipeline. Then once it is done, for stored procedure, what I will do? where all my data will be stored for stored procedure. Add the SQL database. Add SQL database or any other link service. Now let's go to our Azure portal. The first step, what is the first step? We'll follow according to the steps. It says the first step is you should have subscription, then prepare the source data in the blob storage. Okay. So we'll do this one, preparing the source data in the blob storage. I'll search for storage account. Even you can go for data lake storage. There is no issue with that as well. And you can also go for data lake storage. It's up to you which storage you want to use. You want to go for blob storage, normal storage, or Cosmos DB, or let's say your data lake storage. In next project, we'll see with data lake storage. So here, let me create one storage account, right? We can select the resource book. It's Azure Data Factory for training, Azure Data Factory training. You can create, if you don't have a resource book, click on create. Let's say Azure Data Train. Okay. This is the resource group I created for my project. I will be using the same resource group on Azure Data Train. Now let's say what's the storage account name? Azure Storage. It should be unique, globally unique means anybody else shouldn't be using the same. Okay, Azure Storage, and it should be in lowercase. Azure Storage 973. Give any random name, and so that it is not similar or same. Select locally redundant storage. Click on review and create. Now, once all the validation checks have been passed, click on create. Wait for the deployment to finish. Once the deployment is finished, click on go to resource. Right? If it's not available, you can go to home. If you can't see this interface, you can go to home. Search for storage account. There you will get your storage account, Azure Storage, in the name 96738, or the storage account which you have created. Now, are you there on this page? Have you created the storage account? Joshua?
Yes, sir.
Okay, once you have created the storage account, in the left hand side, can you see storage mover, data storage, security, networking? You can see activity log. This things will be mentioned. There you have to click on data storage. When you see data storage option is there, click on data storage. There you can see containers. Right? Click on containers. Can you see any container created here? Is any container available?
No, sir.
We don't have any container, but only one container is there, logs container, which is there. I'll add a new container. Let's say the name is input container. Let me create a new container. Let's say input container. Click on create. So now what can you see? I have created a new container. Then a container name is input, where I will add my data. Let me add the data. Let's click on upload. Let me add some employee data. I will also show you which data I uploaded. In the chart, I'm sharing the data. I've shared the data. Download this. Download and upload it. Okay. How to upload? Click here. You can upload the data. What data I've uploaded? Click on this three dots, and here you can say view and edit. Yeah. So what data I've uploaded here? What is the rows? How many rows and how many columns are there in the data? Yeah, what is the data which I've uploaded? How many rows are there in this data? Tell me.
3, sir.
And how many columns?
3.
So three rows, three columns are there. What is the header? So header is basically you can see ID, employee name, location. This is called what? This is called header. Why I'm telling you it is important. Later on, I will tell you Rick, why I told you this header. You should remember this header is there. And so this is the header you should remember. Whatever the right column name is there, that is actually called the header. So we have employee ID, employee name is there, Maya, and location, Delhi. Other employee ID is 103, employee name and location, Hyderabad. Okay. Now click on cross, that is the data I had uploaded. Now I will go back to my Azure, right? Or you can go to home. In home, I've created a storage account, storage, the source is already done. I will go and configure my SQL database, that is my sink, right? What I have to do? Click on create a SQL database. If you are following along, just let me know. If I'm going too fast, let me know. I'll slow down. Have you created the storage account and added the data?
Yes, sir.
Now we have to create a new SQL database. Click on create SQL database. If you feel I'm going too fast, if you want to slow down, so just let me know. Okay? I will just slow down. For facing any issue, we can share a screen. Okay? So here in
No, sir.
oh, so here in the database, just to give some database name, let's say Azure DB for Data Factory. Azure DB for Data Factory. So that is the name I'm giving. Right? This SQL database name is Azure DB for Data Factory. Have you created a server? Do you have the server, or you don't have any server available here?
No, sir. I don't have any server.
So what you have to do, click on create new. Click on create new. There give the name. Let's say Azure DB new server. Azure DB new server. If in let's say they give you this screenshot, like in what happens in Microsoft exams, like for DP 203 exams, what they ask you, they give you some screenshot like this. Okay? Then they ask you, let's say we have a database server. Okay, that database server name is what? The database server name is Azure DN. The new server is there. Let's say Azure DN new server. What is the logical name of the server? So we'll think, okay, the name is Azure DNN new server. So this is the name. No. The logical name means the full name of the server. If they're asking only the server name, you have to tell Azure DNN new server. If they're asking for logical name, that means Azure DNA new server dot database dot windows dot net. Okay. So that is the difference between the server name and the logical server name. Okay. Here you can select the location if you want to change or leave as it is by default. There you have to
Okay.
do an authentication method. You can see this is Microsoft Entra ID, your username, password you're using. It is either you can go for this one, Microsoft Entra ID, or I will go for both SQL and Microsoft Entra ID authentication. First, you have to set the admin. You'll get some options. Select any one of the options among this by setting. Let us select the AD app management. Okay, select the first one. Now here I have to set the admin. Right, let me give some admin name. Let's say remember this admin name, username, admin, and password. Add it in your notepad because if you forget, you won't be able to access the data inside your server. Let's say admin034 and I give the password. Let's say some password. Done. Fill here as a completed. Should I proceed?
So here is set Microsoft extra admin. Here not selected. The value must not be empty.
Yeah. So here click on set admin. Did you click on set
Set
admin?
admin.
Yeah. Click on that.
Okay.
Select any one option, and then click on here. Select this button. Then
I just share my screen.
oh, 1 minute. I will allow sharing. Yeah. Start sharing. Yeah. Select the first one. Yeah, the first one.
This first one.
Yeah. Yeah. Click on select. Yeah. Now add some username. Let's say admin034. Give some password. Yeah. Now click on OK. Yeah. Scroll down. Yeah. Here go for locally redundant backup storage. Because we don't have any critical data or sensitive data, LRS is fine. Okay. We'll go for locally
Okay.
first option in that. Yeah. Now click on networking. Next networking. Yeah. Here we have to enable public endpoint so that everyone can connect to our SQL database. Click on public endpoint. Second option. Yeah. Now scroll down. Allow all Azure services to connect. That option is there. Scroll up. Yeah. Click on yes. Yes. Down also yes. Okay. Scroll down. Scroll down. Click on review and create. Yeah. Now click on create. Now it will take 2-3 minutes for the deployment to finish. Wait for it to be create deployment to finish. Wait for it.
Okay.
Now stop sharing once.
Okay.
Okay. Meanwhile, it is being deployed. What we can do, we can go and configure the source, right? Because we already have the storage account. We'll go and configure the source. Let me just start sharing. So I was here. I was creating username, password. Click on OK. Next is networking, public endpoint. Allow all the Azure services to connect. Allow current IP address. Even if you give it no or no, you can go and change in the security. Later on also it's possible you can change. Now click on create. Once all the validation checks have been passed, create button will be enabled. So now my SQL database or my destination has been created. So here you can see what is my destination. Destination is SQL database. I will also share you the link. So now my destination is created. Source is also created. Destination will take some time. It will take some time to be created. Meanwhile, what I will do, I'll go to my data factory. You can open a new tab. If you are having this tab, you can open new tab to the right and you can go to our Azure Data Factory. Right, you can go to our Azure Data Factory. Right, in the Data Factory, what I will do. Okay. Once you go on the Data Factory, do you have the Data Factory? Have you created any Data Factory before?
Yes, sir, I have data.
Okay, click on Open Studio. Go to Data Factory Studio, where you will get this home page. Are you there on this page?
Yes,
Go to Author tab. Can you see Author tab, second one? Then here you can see pipelines. Author tab, can you see pipelines?
yes,
Click on New Pipeline. In pipeline, click on New Pipeline. Now in New Pipeline, go to Move and Transform. You can see copy data, drag and drop. Right, this drag and drop.
okay,
Yeah. Done.
done, sir.
Here you can see source and scene. Right. Then just
Yes,
click on New. Search for blob storage. Blob. 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 Can you see Azure Blob Storage? Click on Continue. Here, what data I've uploaded? I've uploaded the data in the form of what? I've uploaded it in the form of CSV file. Okay? CSV file I've uploaded. Click the CSV file. Can you see CSV file? Click on Continue. Here I have to link it with the service. Let's say Azure Blob Storage. Okay. What is the name of the container? Input. In input container, what is the file I uploaded? Employee data. Just select that employee data file. Can you see input? File name employee data CSV. Import schema should be from connection. First to the header, it should be checked. Okay. Now click on OK. Done. Clear. Are you following
uh,
along?
no, sir, just give me one.
Oh,
Done, sir.
okay. Here we have added the source. You can see, click on preview data. You can see what data we have added. Employee ID 102, employee name Maya in the location. Similarly, here also employee ID, name, location is visible. Now what you have to do, you have to configure the sync. For that, you have to first see if it is created or not SQL database. Let's reload the page.
Yes, deployment is completed.
Okay, fine. Deployment is complete. Go to resource, go to your SQL database. There can you see query editor on the left hand side. Can you see that query editor?
Yes, sir.
Click on that query editor. Here, do you remember we had created admin username and password? Right, enter that admin username and that password. Give the password. So your admin username and the password. Once you give this, right now you can see here we can write the SQL query. Right, we can write the SQL query to create the table. Right, here we can write the SQL query to create the table, and that table will be where I will load my data. Right, inside my SQL database. So how to create that table using the SQL? You do have any idea with SQL?
Yes, we can fire direct query like create table.
Okay, so even if you want to see more queries, right, you can, I will just share you the link, right? The SQL W3 schools, the resource link is there. If you want to see more SQL query, you can see and refer to it. Okay? I guess you already know about it. So we'll directly start by creating the table. So we can write create table, create table, and the table name. Let's say the employee data, right? Let's say the employee data is the table name. Next is I will give some employee ID. I will give some extra ID, like it's a serial number. Let's say what is the data type of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? What is the data type?
I for ID it is integer.
Yeah, it's integer, and the value should
F
not be null. Okay?
null.
Should not be null, not null. And next one is I will give the employee ID integer, employee name. What is employee name data type?
We can use varchar.
Varchar. Then let's say 50 characters are enough, okay, for us. Employee location, let's say employee location, and this will also have the data type varchar. Now I will run this query. So what is saying? Query succeeded. Okay, now it has created a table. How do I know it has created a table? Click on tables. Can you see dbo.employee data? Can you see this employee data?
Yes, sir.
Table has been created. Now what I have to do? You can select, run this query, select top 1000 rows. It is running this query on employee data, right? Employee data table. Now it is done. Now I will go to my data factory again. Now I have to specify the scene. Click on new.